In this bulletin, SODELPA members to voice their concerns. Government sees decline in poverty, and consultations on electoral bills continue.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
The Social Democratic Liberal Party members who have not been allowed in the past two management board meetings have been invited to present their concerns in the next meeting. SODELPA leader Viliame Ngavoka says these members can present their side of the story on the alleged involvement with former party leader Sitiveni Rambuka's proposed party. Sanyeni Mboila reports.
SODELPA will now hear out the grievances from 5 of its members who were not allowed in previous management board meetings.
Investigations are happening, but we are one family. You know, people are saying, look, we are one family. Let's just hear them. Huh? So they will be invited to the next board meeting and to hear them, to hear the side of the story.
So when is the next meeting scheduled?
It'll be around...
Ngavoka says investigation against these members continue.
He gave us an interim report today. He needs another 2 weeks to complete what he's doing. Yeah?
So that we all come together as a team and continue towards 2022.
The members were alleged to have been copied in an email from Rambuka's proposed party. Part of the investigation panel is former Police Commissioner Isaiah Taoka and former magistrate Seromi Turanga. The next SODELPA board meeting will be held next month. Sanyeni Mboila, FBC News.
The national poverty rate currently stands at 29.9%, and Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says this is a massive drop comparing to the last 20 years. Speaking on Radio Fiji Once, another Prime Minister program, Bainimarama highlighted this has only been possible due to the various assistance provided by the government. Bainimarama says a number of programs have been implemented by the government to assist ordinary Fijians in an effort to address the issue.
The fight against poverty is one of the main focus of the government. This includes the establishment of certain government initiatives to help those that fall under this category. The government provided financial assistance to those who lost their jobs due to COVID-19 and has spent 120 million. The government is also lending a hand to various businesses affected by the pandemic. These are some of the ways the government works to ensure that no one is left behind.
The 3 bills that govern Fiji's electoral voting system are currently under public scrutiny in the Northern Division. According to the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, the proposed amendments to the 3 bills are expected to make the elections much more convenient. Eleanor Turangaiviu has been following the consultations and files this report.
Recommendations made by the Multinational Observer Group following Fiji's 2018 general elections are now incorporated into 3 bills that are currently before the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights.
The main thing is we need to have a simple process that people they understand what they are doing and how it's to be done, how they are supposed to vote, whom they are supposed to vote for, and to simplify the process, because most of these changes that are coming in are MOG recommendation.
The proposed amendments were this week presented to various communities in Madhuwata for their views, opinions and recommendations.
What if one is registered but not vote on the day? Is there a law against that?
Senior citizens or the sick leave previously had to wait for too long, but in the last election everything was done smoothly.
The committee has noted an increased interest from the public on the voting process and little concern over party politics.
What people are more interested in is how to vote, where to vote, when to vote, and ensuring that their vote is not invalid once they have actually casted their vote.
The 3 bills before the committee will aim to amend the Electoral Act of 2014, the Electoral Registration of Voters Act of 2012, and the Political Parties Registration, Conduct, Funding and Disclosures Act of 2013. The submission gathering continues in Boa and the Kaunrawe this week before they present their report to Parliament in its next sitting. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
The Fijian Broadcasting Corporation's 7 p.m. television news service extends to a 1-hour bulletin from today. This will comprise of hard-hitting stories and relevant issues from across the country. The 1 Hour News Bulletin will serve the needs of viewers and advertisers who have been asking for an extended news bulletin.
It's exciting times ahead, but also challenging, but I have full faith in my team that they will deliver.
There's been constant demands, not only by viewers, but more importantly for a business, for our business, from our clients' perspective. There's a lot of business organizations that want to be part of news, that want to buy ad time during news.
Minister for Trade and Commerce Fayaz Koya has encouraged the Muslim community to get vaccinated as soon as jabs are available. Speaking at the opening of Masjid Hanifa in Nandi, Koya highlighted that there is a growing voice of Islamic scholars who have concluded that one can get vaccinated in the month of Ramadan because vaccines do not nourish the body. Ramadan is expected to begin on Wednesday, when Muslims will fast for a month.
With the arrival of the vaccines, it's actually critically important, ladies and gentlemen, that every one of us gets registered for them. And by registering, you're actually putting Fiji in a stronger position to return to some degree of normalcy and to recovery.
Koya adds they welcome the opening of Masjid Hanifa a few days ahead of Ramadan. Fiji's contribution in this year's UN Climate Change Conference of Parties, or COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland, is expected to create waves. A number of youth climate change warriors are expected to be at the forefront, voicing concerns at the conference hosted by the United Kingdom. Chosaina Nunga has more.
Let's not wait anymore. The time is here, the time is now, to show remorse for the place we call Mother Earth.
Young people also have an important role to play in making changes themselves in their own lives to try and support a sustainable approach to nature.
As young people who are taking up leadership in fighting for our survival and who stand to inherit the planet from the current generation, we need to move beyond hoping and start acting.
In the build-up to World Earth Day, the British High Commission this morning held a tree-planting initiative at Super Muslim College to motivate young minds to take ownership of the environment.
The Education Ministry has not been spared from the impact of climate change, which has increasingly become a norm every year. The ministry strongly supports efforts in the fight against climate change involving young people.
Youth represents over 60% of Fiji's total population and play a huge role in climate change action and advocacy. What better place to start than in schools?
The British High Commission plans to engage more young Fijians to raise awareness on climate change and a build-up to COP26. Chosaina Nunga, FBC News.
Up ahead, Tailevu sees loss as learning curve. And Cricket Fiji name squad. Stay with us. The Tailevu provincial team is not taking the 13-19 narrow loss against Namosi lightly as they move to round 2 of the Skipper Cup competition. It was a physical encounter at Nakelo District grounds in Tailevu. Not a good start for the hosts, but head coach Seremai Ambai says there is still time for improvement.
It's going to be tough. Success is not coming in overtime, but work in progress, work in process. We just have to keep our heads high, take the positives, and working on those walk-ons on coming next week.
Bai says despite the loss, he is proud of composure and discipline maintained throughout the game.
Credit to my boys. They played their heart out. We'll take the positive and looking forward for next weekend.
Young player Paula Nayazakolo is happy with the experience.
It was not an easy game, seeing that Namosi was a tough side, but we showed teamwork, and that is what we will take on moving forward.
Tailevu will be expecting a tough clash when they take on Northland in the second round of the Skipper Provincial Cup next week. Venina Rakotonga, FBC Sports. The Rewa football side outclassed Nadranga 3-0 during their Digicel Premier League match yesterday. 2 goals from Anish Kem sealed the victory for the Delta Tigers at Churchill Park. Philippe Naikaso has more.
It was an impressive performance by the Delta Tigers, who dominated majority of the game to get the 3 points.
The first up, but the boys performed well, and when they perform well, the results come, and that is why we win today.
The side led 1-0 at the break and piled on 2 more goals in the second half. Despite the win, they will be working on a number of areas they'll need to improve on.
There's a lot of areas that we need to work on, especially on our attacks. If you see, if we did finish all our chances, we would have been winning by a good goal margin. But that's the area of concern. It is the finishing and some more niggling injuries that we'll want to look at.
For Nandrunga, the side admits that Rewa was the better team on the day.
And we lost to a better team. Can't do much about it, but just have to go back and prepare in the coaching session.
Rewa will now play Mba in the next DPL match. Philippe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
Cricket Fiji is on its quest to field a strong national team for the East Asia Pacific qualifiers in Japan in August. The association held a 2-team cricket trial which helped them pick 30 best cricketers to be part of the extended squad. Senior selector Meli Saumbulinayao says they've managed to rake in fresh talents in past competitions. Saumbulinayao says those selected must remain fit to become a great bowler and batsman. He says Papua New Guinea is the best team in the Pacific and there is no excuse for Fiji to reach that spot.
We actually want to bring Fiji back to the level that we were in the past. If we can go further than that, better it will be for Fiji.
The Suva volleyball competition season is slowly coming to an end, but more teams are continuing to show interest. The association is now advising the teams to wait for the new season. President Kemueli Naingama says this is a positive sign for the association as they may have to make some changes.
Having our fingers crossed, there may be a change in venue since the 3 courts here at the multipurpose we observe that it's not adequate enough to accommodate the 44 teams so far. So there may be a change in venue, but it will totally depend on the funds available with the association.
And on to the weather, a weaker trough of low pressure remains slow moving to the west of Fiji. A moist northeasterly wind flow prevails over the country. That's FBC Morning News. Join us at 7 p.m. for our major news bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care and good morning.